The County Health Products and Technologies Department subsequently reviews, consolidates, and uploads the verified orders to the KEMSA LMIS portal. In addition, the County Pharmacy Department consolidates all facility orders and prepares a single requisition letter to KEMSA, thereby ensuring effective coordination, accountability, and traceability of all medical supplies, all medical commodities supplied to county health facilities. Upon consolidation of the orders, the county pharmacist generates a pro forma invoice. Based on this invoice, a local purchase order LPO is issued to KEMSA to facilitate order processing, picking, and delivery. Further, stores records and supporting documentations, including delivery notes, invoices, payment vouchers, S13 forms, stores ledger cards, and S11 issue notes were maintained at the respective health facilities and have been available for audit review. These records provide evidence of the receipt, custody, distribution, and issuance of medical supplies to the intended facilities, thereby promoting transparency, accountability, and effective inventory management. The county executive has provided an annexed at Annex 1.0, comprising the following supporting documents: delivery notes, S13 forms, S11 issue notes, store ledger cards, distribution lists, and inspection and acceptance reports and certificates. Evidence, or photo evidence of training of the facility in charge as well. The attached documents substantiate the receipt, storage, distribution, and utilization of the medical supplies delivered by KEMSA to the respective county health facilities. Steps taken: the management has directed the relevant departments to strengthen documentation, record keeping, and inventory management controls to ensure audit queries do not occur in subsequent financial years. The management has designated stores officers to ensure compliance with supplies, requisitions, and receipts. The management has capacity built the facility in charges. Thank you.
Which is Annex 1 referred to? Is it a single document?
Just say what it is.
This one. This is Annex 1. Auditor General, have you gone through Annex 1? And what is your opinion or comment on it?
Thank you, Chair. We have gone through Annex 1. And while we were going through Annex 1, we concentrated on the issues which were listed in our audit report, which included requisition from respective health facilities. This requisition from respective health facilities, through the response, we were able to be made to understand that the requisitions is done through a system, and therefore the requisitions now, which was subjected for our verification, was now a consolidated requisition at the county pharmacist. Then we had also asked for the inspection and acceptance. We verified the inspection and acceptance for those 2 deliveries because there were 2 batches. And then there was also the issue of stores ledger accounts. For the store ledger accounts, there are 67 health facilities in Wajir County, and on average, these store ledger accounts document various items from KEMSA, which on average are like that 62. So what was given to us during verification was a sample of original ledger accounts, and we looked at that sample to see how the items were received at facilities and how they were issued, and that's the issue which we addressed here in our audit report. Thank you.
So, in summary?
In summary, we are seeing we can see that this issue is partially addressed. We are left with the issue now of the confirmation of what they are doing, so that this issue cannot continue or recur in our audit.
I want us to be very, direct and deal with this thing quickly. 172 million worth of pharmaceutical drugs, non-pharmaceuticals, etc., were procured from KEMSA. So that's the order initiation. And the county has explained the process. It is automated. Our concern is, actually, the governor, you have captured it in your response. The last paragraph on page 2, just before the county executive has provided Annex 1, our concern is to get evidence of the receipt, custody, distribution, and issuance of medical supplies to the intended facilities. That is a concern. I don't think there is much scope for monkey business when ordering from KEMSA. But we have seen situations where the supplies come from KEMSA and they're distributed to facilities which are owned by private persons rather than public facilities. So that is our concern that we need to address ourselves to. The 172 million worth of pharmaceuticals and non-pharmaceuticals, where is the evidence that they were distributed to 10, 20, or 12 public facilities? And, you know, in that distribution, does it account for the 172? I think that's what we need to focus on. Is it in Annex 1? Take us to that, because if we clear our minds that the drugs were taken to the respective hospitals, then we don't have to waste time on the KEMSA order and system processes.
Chair, first of all, I'd like to correct the auditor that it's not 67, it's 167 facilities.
167 facilities?
Yes. The ones that are on the KEMSA supply. Our registered facilities are 174, but the ones that had gotten into the KEMSA system by that time, because we keep building new facilities, 167, not 67. Number two, this KEMSA system is, the way it's designed is foolproof. In that, when you make your requisition and you build that requisition from the facility, every facility actually requisitions online. And the system itself, at the point of the county pharmacist, tells you what KEMSA has. It also gives you what is called a non-supply list, which is what they don't have. So for the things that they have is what we raise a pro forma, and there is no intervention between the KEMSA stores and the facility. It's last mile delivery. It goes directly to the facility. And the KEMSA person who delivers, the truck driver or whoever is delivering, goes with delivery notes which have to be signed in triplicate. One delivery note stays at the facility. One is sent to the county pharmacists, which then is passed on to county treasury through the chief officer for payment. And the last one goes back to KEMSA. And in each of the facilities, we also have what is called stock ledgers, which are the bin cards for every single product, showing what has come in and what has, and all these other supporting documentations as well. So what we've done is to then print that entire file of all those, what are they called, and bin cards and other receiving and issuing documents, and that's why the bundle is that big.
Okay.
But from at least perspective,
through the chair, I mean,
Senator,
yes, if the system is that organized, Governor, what I'm wondering, the query here says that expenditure was not supported by way of requisitions from the respective health facilities. There was no inspection and acceptance committee reports. There was no ledger card. So if the system is seamless, the way you are indicating, why weren't the documents availed to the auditor? Because the auditor, I've heard him say that this issue was only partially addressed.
Governor?
yeah.
Chair, before,
Okay,
before
let's take from Senator Dulo.
Response, my question goes to the auditor. If I heard you very well, you have said the query has partially been responded to. So maybe it's good if you can clarify for us to be able to understand the process, or rather the response. Tell us what has partially been addressed and what is outstanding, so that we address what is outstanding and also get a way forward on it.
Okay, before, I think, let's get the governor's answer to Senator Morgan's question, then we come back to the auditor.
You know, Senator, the opinion belongs to the auditor. So for me, all I can do is to supply what he says has not been supplied. But that's how our system works. And it works uniformly for everyone. Yeah. So it's, I think that question can only be answered by the auditor.
Documents were given.
Governor, that cannot be the auditor's question. This is a question raised by the auditor on operations of your entity.
Yes.
It is a matter that was raised in the draft certificate, in the exit meetings, which I want to believe happened. If they are not provided at the time of audit, it cannot be the responsibility of the auditor. We must be fair to the institutions that we work with.
Chair,
I think there has to be another explanation for why it was not provided, but that explanation cannot come from the auditor. Senator Admiral.
Yeah, Chair, maybe the position of the auditor on my query can clarify certain things so that we can.
Thank you, Chair. My concern, my outstanding concern here is on the steps taken so that this issue cannot occur.
Sorry, what I have said, you said the query has been partially addressed.
Yes.
And it's not fully addressed to your satisfaction. What is outstanding that has not been provided to satisfy you as far as this query is concerned?
And who is this person who did not give you documents? Who is this person who did not supply you with a document? Because you know what the law says.
Thank you, Chair. As far as the audit issue is concerned,
Can you put the mic closer to yourself?
as far as the audit issue is concerned, the 3 sets of documents which we expected to be given during the time of the audit have been given after the time of the audit.
Sorry?
After.
We are concerned with what you have put on ink and paper. You say they were not supported when you did the audit.
Yes.
My question is, who is this officer responsible who did not supply you with the documents? Because we are dealing with an audit report that is now before us that says the expenditure was not supported by way of documentation.
The responsibility of submission of these documents, particularly this relating to procurement, is the responsibility of the accounting officer, medical, the Department of Health Services.
Now, let's do this. Let's, because we must deal with this matter. Governor, what are your top 4 facilities? If you can mention them. It does not need to be by revenue, but just mention some 4 randomly.
And the top 4 facilities would of necessity be the sub-county hospital. So we have the Wajir County Referral Hospital. We have Habaswein Level 4 Hospital. We have Griftu Level 4 Hospital. We have Eldas Level 4, Butte Level 4 Hospital.
So we can, if you take Aldas, you said Aldas Level 4.
Yeah, for instance.
Can we use that as a test to confirm that Aldas Level 4 received, to provide, to confirm that there was evidence of receipt, custody, distribution, and issuance of medical supplies to Aldas Level 4 Hospital? I cannot see that far. I'm not that young. No. You can't cross there. Just describe what you are flashing. I believe it should be in our files.
Yes, Chair, it is in the annex, in Annex 1, yes. So we have categorized.
Annex 1, on which page?
Chair, in the first annex, we have the requisition letter. Then appointment letters, inspection appointment committee.
Where are you reading? I think next time make sure that you paginate your document so that it's easier to follow.
Take this color.
The green that says requisition letter.
Requisition.
Yeah.
Then you go next. Appointment letter for inspection and acceptance committee.
For Hansard purposes, just to introduce yourself.
My name is Abdi Abdullah Hassan, Director Supply Chain.
Okay.
So next is appointment letter for inspection and acceptance committee.
Is that specific to Aldas?
The appointment, yes. You know, we have 6 sub-counties in Wajir.
No, we are just saying we want to test one facility to confirm that the requisition was done and the order was fulfilled, and if that evidence is there, we can just take one sample.
Chair, if you look at the appointment letter for Inspection Acceptance Committee, the first letter is for elders, Wajir West and Wajir North sub-county hospitals. That is the appointment.
Okay.
Then next is inspection and acceptance for the same. It's there. The inspection committee signed the certificate for elders, Wajir West and Wajir North sub-county. Then you go to stock control cards. That is the bin cards, which act as a control point for us. Then you move ahead. There is red. Is this pinkish or this elders sub-county now? Move from the stock control cards all the way to the red. Yes, alas, the store ledgers. The store ledgers shows how goods were received in the stores.
Just a minute. On the inspection and acceptance committee report.
Yes.
You've got inspection and acceptance certificate.
Yes, for three elders, Wajir West and Wajir North, and Wajir East.
What's a contract delivery due date?
For the inspections.
On that inspection and acceptance certificate.
Contract due date is 3rd June 2024.
Is that within the period under review?
Yes. The file
2024, 2025. When does it start? On 1st of July, 2024. Yes. This is a contract of the prior financial year.
Yes, but it was paid in that financial year, the auditing.
Okay.
Yes.
So, you've got 87 million on one inspection and acceptance certificate, 85 million in the next one.
And totaling to 172 in the audit query.
So, auditor, the 172 related to this specific facility, or it was the 167 facilities across Wajir?
Thank you, Chair. The 172 related to consolidated order for various facilities, which could be 167 facilities within Wajir.
So, that gentleman is explaining one facility, 87 plus 85. Is it then a fact that that fully accounts for the 172?
Yes, Chair.
So in your view, it was only one facility?
No, this is not one facility. This is for Wajir County.
In your inspection and acceptance certificate, you've got 2.
Yes, Chair.
One value of supply is 87. The other one is 85. Is that the requisition from KEMSA?
Chair, the 85 million is for elders, Wajir West and Wajir North.
That's a requisition coming from KEMSA?
Yes.
Which we don't have a problem with, because I think, as the governor has explained, yes, it's fairly foolproof. Now, the evidence of distribution.
It's there, Chair.
Where is it?
County.
Where is it?
Per sub-county. For example, Allah sub-county.
Yeah, just take us there.
Red, they look at this reddish, Allah sub-county.
Where would it be on your, because you've got a lot of pages. How do we get there?
Immediately, you move from stock control cards, that's the bin cards. Then the next, you go to, we have now divided them into sub-counties. Allahs, we started with Allahs.
Okay, so explain to us.
Chair, in Allah sub-county, we have annexed ledgers and counter-received vouchers S13.
Officer, you can explain that?
You can explain the first document, which is something what is presented.
are you saying? Wajir dispensary is in Allah sub-county. Yes.
So, yeah, the first column there is the date, yeah? Okay. So if you link that with the inspection, so the inspection happened on 3rd of June. So you are saying
for Wajir it happened 5th. The S13 it is 5th.
So what is that there? 100
June.
shillings.
Yeah.
In that column, there is 100 shillings there.
This is per drug. The price cost for per drug.
So what was being delivered?
There's unit cost,
Yeah?
there's quantity, and there's value.
And the drug, what's the drug? What is the drug? I just want to understand that form.
Officer?
Just see at the top of the form, it's indicated there, and adrenaline, it's at the top of the form.
Adrenaline.
Yeah.
Adrenaline 1 mg stroke ml.
Yes.
So the quantity is what? Have you understood?
The quantity is, they are written 10 in number.
10.
In number. The drug is adrenaline 1 mg ml.
Okay, officer, going down to total receipts, less total issues, that stock control part, it's all blank. Should it be blank? The bottom of that particular the one Senator Morgan is referring to? I mean, just tell us what is the authenticity of what you have given us? And authenticity would mean signed by somebody, owned by somebody.
Yes.
Because this can be filled under a tree.
No, Chair.
No, just show me how you authenticate this for us to take it as evidence.
First and foremost, it has a serial number. Look at the serial number. Wajir dispensary.
I don't think serial number authenticates. Authentication means the person making the entry takes responsibility by signing.
Yes.
Where is a signature so that we know who's the person responsible here?
It's called Arafat.
Where is that?
Arafat.
Where is that indicated?
Look at the receiving officer, beside the signature.
Where?
Put the S13, look at the S13.
No.
Don't take us to S13 because you have separated them, isn't it?
Yes.
That's why you've got your S13 is a counter receipt voucher.
Yes.
Yeah, so before we go to the counter receipt voucher, we are on the ledgers.
Ledgers.
How do you authenticate the ledgers? Because none of it is signed. What we have are just entries, handwritten entries.
Chair, ledgers are not signed.
Sorry?
Ledgers are not signed.
So how do you authenticate? How do you authenticate them?
Authenticate this because every facility has one attached ledger book with a serial number.
So, if I may ask, was this the same person filling all this?
No, it's not the same person. It's not the same person.
Because I thought it's one person because the handwriting looks like it's just one person.
Okay,
So
then maybe you need to relate it to the S13. Maybe it will help us understand. What we are trying to dispel is any notion that maybe some team would sit under a tree and fill forms. So your responsibility is to confirm that that is not what happened.
Chair, I'm under oath and I can confirm.
You're not under oath, it's a governor under oath.
Sorry.
Your confirmation is by the documents here. Just take us to the document that gives us that assurance. As I said, we are not going to look at the 167 facilities.
Yes.
We'll just pick one and run a test on it.
For this, for ADI chair, if you look at the receiving officer, just a name with the person who received, signature, designation, and date.
That is on the S13.
S13, yes.
So all the S13s you have tendered there for elders, what do they total to? How much of the 172 million was received by elders?
Of elders. The total elders received is 15,300,000.
Where is that in your records?
In the summary.
Where is the summary?
They did not request your chair.
You knew you were coming here to provide evidence that 172 million worth of pharmaceuticals was distributed to facilities properly. That's the issue. We are not coming to question whether the procurement from KEMSA was proper. That's not the issue. And I mean, if you are to focus on that, would be pedantic. Our concern is that the 172 million was received in public hospitals and was not diverted to private hospitals. That's what we are trying to establish. And I think the governor must have understood that well, because in his written response, he has said that there are records that provide evidence of receipt, custody, distribution, and issuance of medical supplies to the intended facilities. So just speaking elders, you are saying that in total it was 15 million,
yes.
And we are asking where is that evidence in the file?
Chair, I was relying with the audit query, which lump sum put 172 million. Then in that 172 million, we had two vouchers, which is in the inspection, which one is 89 and the other one is 85. So I was trying to support in line with the query.
We don't have a big problem with the distribution and the arrangement with KEMSA.
Yes.
Our problem is, did the facilities receive the pharmaceuticals? And the pharmaceuticals they received, do they tie to the 172 million that came from KEMSA? It's as simple as that.
Yes.
So give us that evidence, give us that assurance, and we can move on.
Chair, the evidence is in front of you. We have the ledgers, we have the S13, we have the appointment letter for the inspection, we have the requisition, and the inspection certificate signed by the appointed committee members.
Auditor General, because I said when we started that we are not doing the audit today.
Yes.
The audit ended when the OAG brought the report on 31st of December. Can you give us an assurance that the 167 facilities in Wajir received medication pharmaceuticals, and the pharmaceuticals they received, the total ties to the 172 that came from KEMSA? Are you able to give that assurance, or do we ask the county to provide that information?
Chair, as the auditors, we can only give what is called reasonable assurance, but not absolute assurance. So maybe I'll pass the ball to the governor. Thank you, Chair.
Governor?
And Chair,
I've explained the process of consolidating requisitioning. And once the requisitions are consolidated, an LSO is given for what is required of KEMSA in totality, but with a breakdown of how much will go directly to every facility. So the packaging takes that into account. And that's why it's a last mile delivery. Once that reaches there, the KEMSA person also, because has to demand for payment, has to ensure that the facility in charge signs a delivery note. It is not expected, it's not rationally expected, and I must say this, that the bin cards or the store ledgers for every facility, because these are not things you carry away, they are per product and they are kept at the facility, will be kept at the headquarters. They are at the facility. So it's up to the auditor to say, I need proof of this delivery for this product, for this facility. Then we provide the delivery note from the facility so requested? Because you're talking about 167 facilities that have received products directly. And if they want to know at what stage of consumption there is, then we give copies of the bin cards. So when we saw that comment, what my people did is now they asked the store people, the facility in charges in every facility, to send the bin cards of every single facility. So I think unless the auditor says, I need this particular thing in this particular form, this is our response. I don't know how else to explain.
It is not what the auditor wants, it is what the Senate wants. What the Senate requires is clear evidence that 172 million worth of pharmaceuticals and non-pharmaceuticals that were procured from KEMSA reached the intended facilities. That's all. That's our concern. Sitting here, we have seen cases where in a very foolproof exercise, counties procure, counties get medication, but that medication goes to private hospitals. That is the suspicion that we must allay. And so what you must do, as your officer says, that there is no summation of deliveries to the respective facilities, you must provide a summation that accounts for that 172 that will then be supported by the ledgers and the S13s that have been attached here. Sitting as a Senate, that's the most we can do. We cannot go through every single S13 or every single ledger. So provide a summation of the deliveries out of the 172, the facilities were taken to, and how much each facility received. And then we'll ask the Auditor General to just run a test to confirm, and we can close this matter. Governor, I hope that is clear. It will be
Yes, Chair. Yeah. I think what I'll ask my people to do, because delivery notes was not one of the things that was asked for by the auditor, why not just get every single signed off delivery note that added up to those two LSOs and provide it to the auditor?
Yeah, provide is the Senate asking. It is not the
obliged.
So I think that should be a very straightforward exercise where you have a schedule, if it's 167 facilities or 50 facilities, indicating the quantities and amounts received. Is that clear? And that's doable. Auditor General?
That's okay, Chairman. We'll comply with the directive. Thank you.
Let me ask Senator Cherargei to go on record.
Cherargei Kiprotich is my name, Senator of the Republic of Kenya, representing the great people of Nandi. And Chair, my apologies, I was in parliamentary board meeting for very long, having the governor refused to appear on several occasions. Mine is, Governor, you are contradicting yourself. If you read your own response, page number 3, steps taken. I thought these are already steps that you have taken. Because you have said the management has directed relevant department to strengthen issue of record keeping, document inventory, management controls. So I thought the one you are saying has already been done. So which is the position? Are you running away from your written submissions that you are going to undertake in future of your management responses, where you have put then the management and stores officers? Because I'm seeing the chair, you are directing that the OG retake. I thought they have already taken because it is written steps taken. So I thought they have already done. They are giving feedback on the matter.
Okay, I think you gave you an opportunity to go on record, but you could benefit also from some of the conversations you have had prior to your arrival. I think we have gone through all those issues of documentation, the gaps, the complexities, but what we are concerned about now is accounting for 172 million and making sure that that 172
Thank you, Chair. The settlement of financial performance reflects transfers to other government entities of Kenya shillings 1,749,535 474 as disclosed in note 9 to the financial statement.
Okay, now, when we did our brief earlier,
Chair,
to be, just go on record on that.
So we label that as annexed.
So I think the point has been made. We can go to another issue. So I think the point has been made. We can go to another issue.
This an skimming through some of them and skimming through some of them and
that Wajir County has had with respect to brought forward liabilities, because the opening balances of 1 year, even in the auditor's financial statements, have never really agreed with the closing balance of payables in the previous year. The assumption of, and we've had this conversation before, with this committee, the assumption of office report had 5.6 billion shillings of pending liability. The auditor's own investigation report into pending bills had a totally different number, as low as 300 and something. And our own verification through other independent consultants brought something a bit closer to the figure of 1.7. And even that with a lot of caveats, because the system of procurement had completely collapsed in the period between 2018 and 2022. So what we have done, and there are even actually physical structures for which people had LSOs, but which were not in any of those reports. So what we have done as a county government is to pay what is physically verifiable. Absence of a complete listing of accounting payables, either from the auditor or from the assumption of office report or from the outside consultants. So the approach we took was twofold. Number one, track our own payables from commitment to pay pending bills by concentrating on what is verifiable, which is classrooms, dispensaries, water wells, the things that were verified.
I think it is for you to explain to this committee the processes, because a lot of numbers, you've given a lot of numbers, 5.6 billion from assumption of office, 300 million from the auditors, 1.7 billion from your own internal analysis. How did these 1.3 then, how are they exhumed and made payable? Because, or are they additions for the year? Auditor General, we need to be clear. Yeah. Is the 1.3 additions for the year, or those are historical liabilities? Let's make that, let's have that distinction.
Thank you, Chair. The 1.3 relates to an historical liability.
So they are historical, because if there are additions for the year, then we shouldn't have a problem. So how did you exhume 1.3 billion worth of pending bills and recognize them as payable? I think that's the question that you must answer, and not the Auditor General.
Yeah.
Senator Ombua.
Chair, listening to the governor, I'm left wondering whether then he is disputing this figure. He's saying that he doesn't know about this figure, because even in his responses, he actually doesn't even make an attempt to try and give a breakdown of those that figure of 1.3 billion, just a statement that he gives. So, Governor, are you disputing that? Are you saying that that figure does not belong to you? It is the work of the Office of the Auditor General?
Can we consolidate the question so that you are, we are a bit efficient? Senator Cherargei?
Yeah, I find the governor's management reports, although you have called it composition, confusing, because in one aspect, he says there was issue of reconciliation challenges, incomplete supporting documentation, limitation associated with cash basis reporting. Then on the second paragraph, he said, upon subsequent verification, reconciliation, and confirmation of outstanding obligations, then they settle valid liabilities. So, Governor, if you are disputing 1.3 billion as being manufactured, or let me not use the word manufacture, it doesn't sit well with you, or being cooked, the 1.3 you are talking about, what was the justification in your second paragraph? That would be question number one. Number two, Governor, through the chair, looking at under 1 year on this 1.3 billion that has been cooked, it's 38%. Looking at over 3 years, it's 1.7 billion, 48%. Looking at aging analysis in note number 17, and it is good you are an FCPA, you have accumulated 52% of the pending bill of 3.5 billion. There is an exponential growth under 1 year of 38%. That is the one we are talking about, 1.3 billion. So in this 1.3 billion, that is, let me look your years that you have been in office, between 2 to 3 years, 1 to 2 years, and 1.5 years. This is 52% of 3.5 billion. This exponential growth makes us believe that this account payables trade and other payables was cooked. Number three, and finally, you have said verification. What was, and you have the people who had LSO and other justifiable that was not captured, and you are an FCPA, you know, non-disclosure of such in your financial statement is grave. So when you say verification, did you gazette a verification committee? Is there a report that that committee went through the chair? Is there a committee that sat? And where is that report that can attach to verification in terms of this 1.3 billion? And I want to agree with Senator Wabua that even in response of governor, he has not attached to break down to show that 1.3 billion chair. Unless what the governor is requesting, in conclusion, that will be my final question, is a forensic audit with a view of prosecution, because if he's demanding an audit, it should be forensic. Because if it is cooked, then that 1.3 billion under 1 year is very serious. So, Chair, that will be my three questions.
So I think Senator Cherargei has done a comprehensive analysis of note 17, which has the aging as well, but we might lose the point on the 1.3, the additional liabilities that were undisclosed. So Governor, maybe just start by restricting yourself to the 1.3. We have no visibility in your response on the process that you undertook to certify the 1.3. I think that is what is missing. That is what you didn't explain. Give us that explanation so that we can expunge the impression of manufacturing from our minds. Just start with the 1.3 billion. Run us through that process.
Chair, the list of, is this part of the documentation? Where is it? Yes, in the financial statement. The list of the 1.3 is part of the financial statements, and it's listed item by item. Item by item. This is, and it shows what it is. It is not in note 17. So, and
no, note 17 is a summary. Note 17 is just the aging, your summarized reporting.
In the financial statements.
You see, Governor, just to help you, to attach the list of pending bills. When we went to accrual, we stopped attaching it. So I think your officers should guide you properly. Note 17 is a summary, is a summation, which also has a problem because the aging of staff payables has not been done, and we'll be coming to that. Okay, proceed.
Chair, and we can provide the listing of what makes up the 1.3. I've just been given here. So I don't know whether the auditor has that, of what has the 1.3. And I want to put it on record that none of this is fictitious because they are itemized. It says what it is, and mostly it's actually developmental. It's largely construction and ECD classrooms, toilets, wherever. And these are things that can be verified. So, and I am not.
Would you like to just help us understand the process? Because in prior year, you disowned them, the 1.3. And in this year, you are saying, okay, we shall pay. It's the process that I think we could start with, because the details of the listing really is your purview as a CEO.
Now, the process decided that we'll take all those reports, isolate what is verifiable. This classroom was indeed done in that period between 18 to 22, but it was not paid. This is what we pay. You know,
Chair, on a matter of procedure, I wish when the governor is reading, we are on the same page. So we are just listening to him. Is the
fact you can point us?
I thought I started by saying we have the list, and the auditor also verified that he has the list of the 1.3, and we can provide that.
We don't have.
Do we have it anywhere
We
here?
have it.
It's
not in the.
It's in the annexure of the financial statement, because the report we are doing is
No, Governor. Under accrual, you guys didn't attach that list. You used to attach it under cash. So it's not there. What's there, note 17 is a summation. And I think it's fair, if it's not here, just to say that you shall provide it, so that it's not protracted.
Chair, I've just seen from,
Chair.
I've just seen in our WhatsApp page, an Excel document has been shared by the auditor containing the list of 1.3.
No, honourable members, let's not refer to all those extraneous things. Governor, the major concern, even before we come to the composition,
I was explaining the process.
is the process.
I was explaining the process.
Please.
With respect to the historical pending bills, because of the situation of incomplete records that we inherited, and all these attempts by the Auditor General, by the Assumption Office Committee, and by the independent consultant that we hired, we brought together everything that they said, because each of them was also coming with a lot of caveats to say we were unable to whatever. And in some of those years, if you go back, there are actually disclaimers on the audit opinion. So what we then decided to do is to deal, because it was both ways. There were people who were claiming things that weren't done, and there were things that were done which were not in any report. So we decided, and we made this public, that we will pay what is verifiable. And the list of the 1.3 is what we've paid that is verifiable. The auditor has said he has. If Senate doesn't have, we are willing to provide. And I'm even willing further to say if there is any of that that is believed to be manufactured, it will be subjected to further audit process to ensure.
Sorry, Governor.
For us, we paid what we verified.
Just for clarification.
Yeah.
You've made a statement that we must understand properly.
Yeah.
Is a 1.3 billion paid or payable?
Payable.
Because you say paid.
Payable.
Yeah.
Payable.
And again,
yeah,
our problem is not even in the payment. Our problem is lack of recognition in prior year, and then all of a sudden you have a 1.3 billion bill. I don't know whether we have understood the process as explained by the governor.
I've gotten even further confused.
Senator Sifuna?
Because the governor is saying, I don't know when that process began, Governor. When did the process of looking, you basically went out to hunt for bills? Because you're saying you got into office, there are no records, then you make an announcement that we are looking for people who we might owe money. Is that the story? When did that process begin?
And Senator, let me explain what happened.
When the process began, which year?
It began immediately we came into office, but it took quite some time.
Us should have seen some amounts, but we have a situation where from 2022 up to now, out of nowhere, we are hit with 1.3 billion.
No, I think that we do not agree with that contention.
Yeah, that's the
That's what we
case.
don't agree with.
No, that's what is before us, Governor. We are able to interpret the report of the Auditor General and also your financial statements.
And Chair, let me put this in this way and allow me time to explain this process. Number one, there was a
How much
figure.
time do we have to explain all these things? Really?
Okay.
Surely.
Did you want,
Because, Chair,
to make an interjection?
Yes, I want to.
Okay, let's take the question.
Accountant. If a disclosure has not been made, and it forms the basis of an audit query, as a responsible government, as an accountant, the thing that you do is to provide detailed explanation in terms of financials, not pros, not saying this is what we are doing, this is what we did. Now, I hear the governor and the office of the Auditor General are talking about a document that is supposed to explain this query, which document we don't have. Yeah, how are we supposed to process that query?
Chair, just
Senator Chiradke.
Governor can come clean. I have heard him alluding that when they came to office, they assessed these trade payables and it is historical. But when you look at aging analysis, there is an over 3 years, which I believe is historical of 1.7 billion.
Yeah.
So he's confusing us further by saying he's referring to historical, yet we have 1.7 already. Yet under this, under 1 year is 1.3 billion. So, Chair, you know, the governor should assist us by being very clear in this between 1.7 and 1.3, because that breakdown, we want to arrive at 1.3 billion so that we remove the assertion that it was manufactured. And Chair, when you look even at the schedule, I don't know what you people drink in Wajir. He was spending in food and drinks of 6.5 million. For me, it looks like they were going to fish and telling hotel how much did we drink.
Bills of less than 1 year. Matters of less than 1 year have to do with cut-off issues. We are in June now, for instance. We have incurred commitments. We have not received the money for May and June. Even if we receive it before midnight of 30th of June, chances are that by the time the system is closed, some of that money will not have been utilized. So those are just timing issues from 1 year to the other with respect to the payables that are within the 1 year.
And I don't think we don't have a problem with that.
What I'm trying to address,
let's deal with the 1.3.
Is 1.3, which is under the note on the accounts payable, and which the auditor has clarified he has the listings, the detailed listings that add to that 1.3. And we're saying those are the historical, verified, physical structures which we decided to pay on account of the incompleteness of the record that we inherited. And that the records were incomplete.
Okay, let's give him 1 minute to finish.
Chair, on that schedule.
Can I just finish, Senator, please?
Governor, because
I might lose my thought.
We want to follow what you say.
Okay, Governor, just give it a moment.
That schedule that has been shared,
Yes.
Does it have a column for us to understand when these invoices were incurred? Is there a column to show us that this is from 2021 or 2022?
It has. Yes, it has.
Which column is that? Because the one that has, I'm using.
Let's not lose the question on process, on who is it who decided that this 1.3 billion should. Yes, because on the face of it, as I said, that's $10 million, 1.3 billion. So we need to allay that fear. So Governor, I don't know, you are not very detailed on the process. Is it your finance officer who said, Governor, all of a sudden we've got this 1.3 billion, let's pay? Was it a task force? Was it internal audit? Was it Auditor General? And obviously, Auditor General cannot be part of that.
Yeah.
So what was the process? What was the decision-making process to recognize the 1.3 billion as payables?
It was a multi-departmental committee that now had to receive all the reports. And every department again was told, can you then physically go and check what in every locality is a physical item that has not been paid or is being claimed. They went with the report physically.
Chair, you'll accuse me of being impatient, but anybody would get impatient with this, honestly, because if it's a committee, then that was said. You know, I'm saying this issue, even a memo that sets up that committee and say, you know, the governor, because this is a very material audit query. You should have come here and told us, on this date, the departments were told to have a multi-agency, whatever, meeting to forward the claims in their departments with any documentation that's available. And after that, this is what the meeting followed, this is what we got. The minutes of the meetings, finally, it was decided from this department, 5 million. From this department, 20 million. From this department, 30 million. Cumulatively, 1.3 billion. That's what we did. Yeah. Anything short of that is just
okay.
Sorry.
So let's maybe we have different ways of contextualizing things.
Chair,
but Governor Senator Lelegwe has a query which might be beneficial, so that you can consolidate everything.
Just when I go through the Excel sheet provided to the auditor, there is a more suspicious figure of a repeated 60 entries of an amount of 1,399,000, amounting to 83 million. A similar figure for 60 entries.
And that's a risk of looking at reports that have not been tabled under oath.
Yeah. That amounts to about 83.9 million.
Can you, Governor, can I help you? Can you go back to the process,
Chair,
before you go to the content?
Let me, I think here the problem is that I'm not even being allowed to say what I want to say up to the end.
I have given you the floor.
Chair, I have said, with respect to the historical, and by the way, we provided even the report of the consultants to the auditor and to Senate, and we'll bring the evidence that we actually sent all those reports to Senate when all those reports were done. Every single report that was done, we provided to Senate, we provided to EACC, we provided to the Controller of Budget, and we'll send to this committee all the forwarding letters and the proof that they were received in the Senate. Because of the situation we were in, and we were under a lot of pressure from the public to pay pending bills, we had to go for what was verifiable. Senator Legwe, it's not unusual to find one figure if you're doing the same things. For instance, if it's one classroom, chances are that the classroom will be awarded for the same amount across. If it's toilets, probably the same amount across. And this is what I'm saying, because this is a note relating to things of physical nature which were not physically on the ground, including boreholes, including classrooms, including fencing of hospitals, but which the committee of the consultants working with the one that we established, because they still had to work with our people to go around, could not actually see. There are villages we went to where we were told there were classrooms, and you go to that village and you find the kids are in under trees. Yet the assumption of report said there were classrooms in there. And this is why we decided we'll only pay what was verified. So this is the situation. And I remember, Chair, we had these conversations about Wajir pending bills in the first committee of PAC. So this is what I'm dealing with. As to what is current, Chair, there is no problem. It's just a timing issue. Whatever we carry forward, because sometimes it's also multi-year projects, which is not paid by 30th of June, when we get our money and the system opens, we pay. And we track our commitments. I'll give you an example, Chair. One of the things we are struggling with is to pay statutory payables carried forward, which was not done for 25 months. Within that period, we have paid our statutory deductions every single month under the current regime. But when you're left with 9 billion, 7 billion, 6 billion pending bills left, right, and center, even my entire development budget after I paid salaries cannot cover that in 5 years. And this is why there's a conversation between Senate and National Treasury on those, for instance, statutory liabilities. Because statutory liabilities is very easy to verify. There can be no fictitious statutory liabilities. People deducted people's money and never remitted for 25 months. I have no way of making that up unless all I'll be doing is to pay what was left by the past regime and I don't provide services. This is the situation.
Governor, I have a separate query on statutory remittances of 732 million. We'll deal with it because it's a big thing that applies to all counties. We cannot leave the 1.3 billion until we are sure of the process. And I thought that you're going to tell us that there are minutes, there are reports which can be provided. Because
we will provide all the minutes, all the constitution of the committees, all the reports of every team that looked into the payables.
The problem is this. When we sat at the first meeting, when you came back to office, the issue of ghost pending bills was big. In fact, many of us here sat through the impeachment proceedings of the former governor of Wajir. And many of the allegations were to do with pending bills and financial impropriety, interest management, etc. We have that background. And what we have expected you to do in your administration is to write down, to verify and get rid of fake bills progressively. So 2022, 2023, you had a huge stock. I don't know whether it was 5 billion or 7 billion, whatever it was. 2023, 2024, your accountants certified a figure as being the accounts payables. Then 2024, 2025, the same accountants and heads of departments tell you, sorry, to Achane na ile last year we have 1.3 billion more to pay. That is where the problem is. If in 2023, 2024, the roads department said that their pending bills were 500 million, and then it was certified and the CPAs put their signatures on this report, how do they come again next year and tell you, no, it wasn't 500, it is now 800? You see, that's the problem. That's the problem. And if it's done through internal mechanisms, it can result in rigging of bills. It can result in manufacturing of bills. So we need to get clarity on that process. All of us here sometimes get petitions from members of the public, our bills are not being paid, but our position is clear. If the bill is verified and the county government has agreed to it, it should be paid. It is fairly unusual to see a growth in historical pending bills. The general trend is a reduction because you are doing verification and you are dismissing those things that you are talking about that were said to be on the ground and yet they were not there. So that is why we have spent a little bit of time here, because it is an unusual trend where it is going up. And I know that in our first conversation, you were concerned that it was too high. So I don't know how it hit, the curve started going up rather than going down.
Chair, I fully agree with you, but it depends on what you started from. If you are starting from the assumption of office report and what we have verified as payable is 1.3, it still come down. It's just that the financial statements of the auditor did not fully capture all the pending payables, number one. The assumption of office report, on the other hand...
Sorry again, Governor. You refer to a report of the auditor?
The inherited financial statements had a much lower number than what was being claimed.
That's 21-22.
21-22. Yes. And the process took quite some time, to get a final report.
So 22-23, you disclosed the liabilities went up.
The liabilities went up. Went up.
Okay.
But still much lower than what was in the assumption of office report. So we, in a sense, picked all those reports and just picked what was of physical nature and decided to constitute those as what is payable. Frankly, that's what it is, basically. Because what was being demanded was much higher. And it cut both ways. I gave you the example of the 600 million of things that are of verifiable nature, which were in the assumption of office report, but which are not on the ground. But also, even within Wajir town, there were offices, for instance, constructed for departments, which the suppliers were coming to knock on my door to say, ofisi yangu inatumika, na sijalipwa, but was not in any report.
Okay.
We had polytechnics that were in use, but were not in any report. So we had to work both ways.
Fine.
And that's why we decided to
I
stick.
think you have emphasized it.
Yeah.
You have emphasized it. Senator Ogua, you are a professional scribe. How would you summarize this conversation?
I think, Chair, I would just simply say Kizungu mingi.
What would be the headline?
A lot of English. Just a lot of English. You know why, Chair?
And he used to work
You
with
know,
standard.
even just what Senator Leregwe has mentioned there, on the 1.3 million, 60 entries. 60 entries of 1.3 million. You know, what would I expect the governor to do is not to give us a theory. Just to say, that 1.3 million, the 60 entries is a classroom, or toilets, or whatever it is. I mean, Chair, I also went to school in the US. And at some point when things get a little muddled up, we will say it is what it is. That's where I'll leave it.
Chair, can I propose
Senator Cherarki?
even as you direct the governor to provide further information, we must be specific. I think that is what Senator Wambua said. So that when you say access roads, is it in Wajir North, Wajir South, is it in Wajir Town or Elders? And also, I've seen one interesting medical insurance of 322 million point one. What it attached to? Which are these companies? Was it for the staff? Chair, the issue of gifts, food and drinks of 6.5 million to some grand oases. The entries, 6.5 million on food and drinks and gifts.
No, I think, Chair, that's not in the list of the 1.3. That's not in the list.
This is the schedule you just provided. Governor, are you running away from your documents again? Are you running away?
Is that 1.3?
So that we know how to deal with it.
That is a schedule that was provided to the auditor
that was even
and circulated.
by the auditor.
Okay, I'm just confirming. Okay, Senator, go ahead.
Yes.
Go ahead, Senator, go ahead.
I can confirm that it is the same on this opposition phone. The same as the one.
But your phone looks cheap. So
Can we try Mwaruma's phone?
Let's try one.
See whether the results will be the same.
That's a techno.
But Chair, there's a question the governor
That's a
didn't
techno
answer.
one.
Yeah.
There's a question the governor didn't answer.
Yes, Senator's phone.
On that same schedule. Now he wants to run away from the schedule, but Governor, you needed to answer whether on that schedule you provided.
I can tell which date that amount was incurred. Is there a column that refers to any time?
Senator, there's through the chair, there's a column for the financial year.
Where is that?
It says.
Which column is that?
It doesn't refer. It's just about payment date.
It's his document. You know, if you read yours, you will run away from it. Let him read his own document.
And there is a date that says, there's a column that says payment date.
Yes, that is the only one that has dates, Governor.
Payment date.
Yes.
So those are actual settlements.
Yeah.
Not liabilities.
So how do you know, Governor, that this is a historical thing because you said you started in 2022? If you just went with that first one there, advertising, awareness and publicity campaigns, it says 2024, 2025. Is that when it was incurred?
You know, the dot shown here is the payment date because, I mean, is the date in which it was incurred, not the payment date. But
So, Governor,
because
you
this was
agree with me
2024,
then that this is
2025.
not historical debt?
Actually,
These are largely historical.
This is a payments list. That's why I asked the question whether this is a list of invoices paid or payable. But it appears they are paid because there's a payment date, the 1.3.
You know, Chair, at the time of the audit, it was payable, but now it's been paid. You know, because the audit itself happened. This we're talking of 2024,
So the 1.3 billion, the 1.3 billion that was exhumed has been paid fully.
Partly paid.
But this schedule totals 1.3.
Yes, partly paid, because every year we provide an amount for pending bills and then tick off from this list. So we can reconcile to say what has been paid and what's not been paid.
Just Governor, for clarity.
Again, Judge,
for clarity.
Again, just 1 minute, because on that point.
As of today, partly paid.
If it is partly paid, then again, Governor, the easiest thing would have been for you to tell us these are already paid and these are not paid.
But my question has not been answered.
Right.
You have provided me a document that cannot help me understand that process that you spoke about. I should be able to know that first item there, instead of telling me you've paid it or when you paid it, when was it incurred is more important in the conversation we were having, because you say these things are historical. And Governor, you know, you are a CPA, I'm a lawyer. The word historical should mean the same to both of us.
Yes.
Yeah, so the documents that you should provide is to show us, for instance, you talked about classrooms that had been built that have not been paid for. You should say this classroom at this place was
incurred, whether paid, whether not paid, and
the process.
And the process.
And the process.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we will not be unfair if we reach the conclusion that these are manufactured in the absence of clarity on the process.
Chair, to me, this schedule says the wording there, payment date. To me, this 1.3 billion has been paid as per this schedule, unless the governor would want to withdraw this document. Because it says payment date. So the English I know is that, the English I know of a lawyer, of a church elder, or a bishop like my brother here, is payment date has been 1.3 billion. So, Governor, are you withdrawing your own document to get us a better document? Because you have now introduced another angle, it is partly paid. Because we don't want to imagine that this was a payment error, the payment of error. Because looking at most of these issues, there is no specificity. Somebody from Wajir will tell them, county has paid money for access roads to this amount. Where do they attach? Because I'm happy you said you did a social audit. You send people on the ground. So when you say access roads, which road from point A to B that was done with how much, how many kilometers, all those, Chair, if they are missing, I might want to associate yourself on the issue of either manufacturing or cooking, whichever you want to go home with.
No, Senator Cherge, you are doing very well until you get there.
Order, Governor.
You are not.
Governor, order.
You are not in charge of this meeting.
Order. We were doing very well until Governor took the microphone.
Correct.
So.
And my advice, he should switch off his microphone. It is safer not to talk.
Okay. Members, we have done very well so far, so let's not lose it. I think let's round up this matter so that we are clear on what we expect from the governor, and then we can deal with other issues. Senator Lelegwe.
Chair, I disagree with the governor's response in my query when I asked him about the 1.399 million figure. You said it is a classroom, and when you build a classroom in Wajir, there is a possibility that you will have the same figure. But now, if you see the list of those people that have been paid, or the companies that have been paid, are 60 different companies. So how can 60 different people quote the same figure, 1,399,400, 60 times?
And again, to add on that, the cost of doing a classroom, the farthest end of Wajir cannot be the same cost of doing a classroom in Wajir town.
You see, members, we are querying this schedule and giving the impression or assumption that the process was okay. If the process was not proper, then even the discussion on the contents of that list stands on very shaky ground. So we must first establish that process.
Yeah, to help answer Senator Lelegwe's question, Senator Lelegwe, first of all, you have to appreciate that these were awarded by the previous regime. So if they decided they are going to award every classroom for 1.399, regardless of where it is, but for me, I have decided to pay the classroom because it's verifiable. I just have to live with that. And it was not unusual for them to use one number for all dispensaries, one number for all classrooms. And there are places where we even questioned and said, yeah, this thing is physically verifiable, but the amount being quoted does not really make sense. So the ones that we thought the cost was reasonable in light of the scenario we were facing are the ones that we decided to include in what is payable. So it was usual in that regime to say 10 dispensaries, each at 3.8. As you say, the procurement process, if done objectively, should have had certain differences. But here you are. You have the classroom, you are seeing it. And by the way, in certain cases, Senator, for you to understand this, there are cases where the public have threatened to close the classroom. There are others where they've gone to court and the court asked us to pay. And this is why I want to improve that list with a lot more details, not to disown it, as Secretary Chergai says, but provide more details as to those things. Yeah.
Okay, Senator Sifuna, hopefully you are giving us a way forward.
Before we depart from that note 17, I'm just wondering if there's another audit query there. But Governor, what is that item number 2 there? Or under use of good? Yeah. Yeah, what is that? At note 17 of the financials.
That ought to be property, plant, and equipment.
No, I think I want him to tell us, Chair.
Yeah,
because
Governor?
you know we have discovered that words mean differently to different people.
Yeah, Governor? Actually, why can it be? What was that thing used during COVID?
That's why I want him to be the one to say it. Chair.
Yeah, so I withdraw my definition. Let's get the Governor's definition of that PPE.
Note 17.
Governor, you are the CEO and you had the notes before you. I just want to know what it means. The financials. Or the financials. Oh. It's on page 26, officer. There's an item there for 2,179,000,000. Yes. What is that second? It's page 26, note number 17.
Nobody knows what this is.
So I think that PPE, Senator, is property, plant, and equipment. So it's 2.179 billion.
How is it? It wasn't in the previous statement.
Thank you, Chair. The reporting template for the 2024-2025 and allowed the first-time adopters of the accrual to take some advantage. But they
Auditor, go straight to the issue.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying
the 2.17 billion that Senator Sifuna is saying was zero prior year.
So
is it part of the 1.3 that you're saying was not disclosed?
It is not.
Okay, so where is it coming from?
It is now for the, I think for the bringing the.
Chair.
And Auditor, remember you are not the preparer of this financial statement, so you can just comment on
I wanted
matters of standards,
I wanted to assist
rather than the completeness of numbers.
Chair, the 1.3 actually, because that note on payables is everything, whether historical or recurrent. So the 1.3 is indeed part of that.
Yeah, so Auditor, I think let's leave it there because we'll start contradicting ourselves. So it's part of that 1.3 that the auditor said was not disclosed. And Senator Sifuna, you asked whether there were other audit queries on that note. Indeed, there is one. Let's go straight to it. Then we will give general recommendations on trade payables and remitted statutory and employee benefit deductions.
Chair, maybe with your indulgence, you didn't give direction on 1.3 billion.
No,
because,
since it's all part of note 17,
yes,
we look at the statutory deductions.
Then you rule on the same.
Then we give a global advice. Auditor General, you could read your finding on pension, statutory and employees benefits deductions, a figure of 732 million, which is included in note 17. It's under the report on lawfulness, and in the original certificate, it's issue number 6, unremitted statutory and employee benefit deductions. And if you go back to note 17, you'll see the social security benefits and employee payables.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Unremitted statutory and employees benefits deductions. The statement of financial position reflects trade and other payables balance of Kenya shillings 3 billion 586,633,121, and as disclosed in note 17 to the financial statement, including the balance is an amount of Kenya shillings 732,615,329 in respect of unremitted statutory deductions to the National Social Security Fund and employees' contribution to local authorities, pension trusts, and local authorities' provident fund, some dating back to 2014-2015 financial year as detailed below. So you have the table there. This is contrary to section 19.
I think, Harry, it's important just to read the components and the amounts. Okay. It's not too long.
Okay, you have the component and the amount. First, the component is basic salary, civil service. This is, I think it belongs to SACCOS of 75,778,665. Then you have employer contribution to staff pension scheme of 535,904,297. Then we have employer contributions to National Social Security Fund of 7,650,480. Then we have graduate civil servants and 13,281,987. Thank you, Chair. This was contrary to section 19, subsection 4 of Parliament Act Cap 226, which states that an employer who deducts an amount from an employee's remuneration shall pay the amount so deducted in accordance with the term period and other requirements specified in the law, agreement, court order, or arbitration as the case may be. Thank you, Chair.
Governor?
Chair, the county government.
Just because we have jumped a few issues, just point us to the page where you're reading your response from.
Page 23.
24. Page 23.
24.
24 or 23? Okay, okay. Yeah, you're right.
Different pages. Mr. Chairman, the county government encountered disagreements with the pension schemes regarding interest and penalties.
Sorry, Governor. That's page 25.
Yeah.
Page 25.
Yeah, it says 24 on mine, but
25.
Yes.
Okay, proceed.
The county government encountered disagreements with the pension schemes regarding interest and penalties, where the penalties were multiple times higher than the principal amounts. The county continues to engage with the relevant authorities to resolve this dispute in a fair and compliant manner. Due to KRA, and also 7.6 million for NSF contributions will be paid in the next month. Chair, let me explain this a bit.
Yeah, because I want us to deal with this matter
Chair.
comprehensively, beyond your written response.
Yes, Chair, all this first of all relates to the period 18 to 2022.
Even though the auditor says from 2014, 2015, when you are the first governor of Wajir.
If there's any amount relating to that, I want it to
But just proceed,
but
just proceed, yeah.
This, these payables relate to 25 months of pensions and gratuities not paid under the period 18 to 22. And it's with Lab Trust and Lab Fund. Now, what both schemes did, and it's part of the disagreement we had, they waited to just before the elections to go to court. They allowed the previous regime to get away with it, and just went to court just before. And so by the time we came in, the matter was in court. We agreed on a few things. We agreed, number one, that we will pay out because these are space in our budget to deal with this at one time. Chair, I'm hoping we've advanced quite a lot with CPF, that we'll have an agreement with them in the next 2 weeks, which includes some waiver of some of the penalties. So that then, even as we speak now, I think we have about 70 million shillings that we budgeted for this year to reduce this amount before 30th of June. And then next year we'll provide a bit more. But Chair, to contextualize this, all this money was actually released by the Controller of Budget, and it was deducted from the employees, but never remitted. I do understand that government is in perpetuity, but the financial architecture of counties is such that money is released monthly. So when the money released in a given month is not appropriated for what it was released for, then it constitutes a crisis on the system. When it's not done for 24 months, for 25 months, then it creates a hole. And this is why we've had discussions with Treasury, CS level, together with the pension schemes, because it's not a problem only for us. And I keep reminding even governors as COG chair that this should be happening on our watch now, if there's any governor that's doing this on our watch now. To deal with this historical, because it might not be possible to absorb this in one fiscal, to come with an arrangement where Treasury gives some bonds, for instance, to these pension schemes, especially the ones that can't, for instance, give assets. Nairobi might be able to give land, for instance, which is valuable. Mombasa might be able to give land. And then that is amortized over time from the equitable share. Because it's impossible for me to pay $1.5 billion or $1.6 billion in statutory payables only within my term. Because I'm already struggling with my payroll costs. We're opening up new hospitals, we're recruiting new people. The increase in equitable share, you understand what it is. So especially for counties that do not generate a lot of on-source revenue, once a hole like this is created, there's a problem. And so, Chair, I am ready for any advice on this, but this is my situation with respect to this.
Yeah, I think the reason why I've given you time is that this is a conversation we have had, I think we have had it in a formal sitting, and we have also had it informally. And we have agreed that there needs to be very special focus on this matter. Because if the control of budget, and Gashanja, you'll advise us, had already approved that expenditure, and the money was released, will you approve it again?
No, it can't be approved.
So where will the money come from? That's a crisis now.
Chair, the challenge I have with that argument is, then that argument can also be applied to my other
physical pending bills, because all those were released by the controller, but just applied in other ways. So I have a classroom belt, someone given an LSO, kids in the classroom, money already released, but that person not paid, and I didn't inherit money.
Chair. Okay.
So let me ask this question again.
Senator Maruma, then Senator Sifuna.
Thank you, Chair. Are you saying that for the existing pending bills, there are projects whose money were principal? Is it possible to get that information? What is the principal? Number 3, Chair, these are employees, whether they were working between 17 and 22, when you're not governor, their money was released. When they retire, when they go for their pensions, they need their pensions. They will not understand that they were not working or their money was released but not released to the pension scheme. So are you saying that there's nothing you can do? And if this money was paid for something different, what's
3, please take note. Senator Sifuna.
I think, Chair, for me, the problem is the time that it has taken to have these conversations. Governor, you are in your final year of your term. And we have your colleagues who have come here and sat there. They are very junior members of the COG, let alone chairman. But they concluded agreements with CPF years ago, where they waived the penalties and some of the interest, and they agreed on a payment schedule, where they're paying monthly or annually. So my disappointment in you, especially as the chair of, and Governor, you have referred us back to that contentious document of yours. My concern is this: you have 113 million in unpaid gratuity for your public servants, and this is a problem for us in the Senate because people who left the service may be retired. They have no time for these stories, especially if I was to share this schedule with them and see how much this hotel called the Grand Oasis. What is it, the name?
Grand Oasis.
Yes.
Have you gone back to that schedule?
Yeah, Chair, it is a question of priorities.
Okay.
Yeah, there are people who do not prioritize Mwananchi. If somebody has retired and they are due gratuity, really those are the people who you should prioritize, and not catering services, accommodation, gifts, food and drinks from that schedule that I was referencing, which is almost 6 million shillings in tea and mandazi. And you have people who have retired there. They have nothing to eat. So, Governor, it's also a question of priorities. I don't know why you have prioritized KRA, because they can freeze your accounts. I suspect that's the reason. But these, yes, these ones looking for their gratuity. Where can they find you, Governor?
And you see, okay. The governor is confessing that the accounts were frozen, and you should prioritize them. Now, these are the guys who have nothing against you. They have no leverage. I mean,
fine. I believe this is a matter that is important not just for Wajir. So we'll do specific cases, but also try to look for a global solution.
Chair,
Senator Charity.
Annex 6. Governor, what did you want to prove with this Annex 6? Because I can see there was a principal amount of 47 million, then there was total accrued interest of 10 million. That was on 10 June 2025. I think it is a payment of 458 million, 137,709.7. That is Annex 6. So is it when the OAG queried about 732 million, 615,329 shillings, is this part of it or it is different? Is 458 trying to offset the 732 or what the issue of bluff fund? Can we get that distinction, or you are just, and to emphasize secondly, finally, Chair, is that I thought this issue of statutory deductions, be it KRA, I think, Chair, we had a conversation where we were arguing that if there is late exchequer releases, they should not be penalized by KRA. And I don't know, as the COG Chair, you have had conversation with KRA saying that since there are late exchequer releases, then counties should not and must not be punished over KRA tax penalties. I don't know, as governors, as a governor of Wajir, have you, or as a COG, have ever sat and agree, because it is unfair that counties get late exchequer releases, then they are penalized a KRA. So I think, Chair, Governor, if that one has not been on COG agenda, you can put it next time over our names. I think that would be better. I yield back, Chair.
Okay, and Governor, as you respond, I think there's been some conversation that payroll processing, and particularly statutory deductions, be done at the national level. I think there's some conversation about that. And as a Senate, we are concerned that the minute you hand over your payroll to the national government, you have handed over the counties back. But it was for situations like this, where approvals are granted, money is deducted but not remitted. You might also want to comment on that, but start with the issues raised by Senator Mwaruma.
Senator Mwaruma, the 732 is the principal sum. It doesn't include interest and penalties. So whether for gratuity or the 7.6 for NSSF, and that one I think is being paid now. And this is all for basic, what do you call, principal sums. Number one. Number two.
Sorry, Governor, is that?
And this matter went to court, and we're in court, and we're saying, for us to be able to prioritize the principal sum, because this was something that was mismanaged, and they also didn't do their part to follow and seek for payments or court process on time. We can't be able to find that money all at one go. That's the point I was trying to make.
Governor, Governor,
can I just finish?
No, on that point before you get out of it, because it's a conversation we have had. LAP Fund is right to demand an interest, because that interest is a return on investment on the pensioners. Yeah. So it looks very big, very awkward, but the pensioners also expecting a return on investment on their contributions. So right. you argue against it, then you're arguing against.
And try to see if that can be amortized over equitable share for a longer period. So I think I have answered, unless there's a particular question that. So as to the question Senator Sifuna asked, maybe their negotiations were easier. I don't know what their numbers were, and for how long. Because in my case, we've dug a hole for 25 months. Yeah, so probably if it was less, it's easier to deal with. And probably also they don't have these other huge pending bills on assets verifiable and in use. But I think the contention of the controller, that the controller is not going to release it twice, shouldn't really be there, because they are asking us to pay for the physical assets, and even that was also released and misapplied. So
I think when there was a release, there should not be a further approval.
Governor, can you clarify to me if there's ever been an engagement at COG level with LAP Fund?
Yes, we continue to engage. And even, I think, at the beginning of this month, we have another engagement, I think around the 29th, with the LAP Fund. We've just had an engagement with CPF, where we met in Kwale, discussing this, among other things. There are also issues on their side, Chair, which I shouldn't bring, extraneous issues which I shouldn't bring here. Much as the interest they're asking is high, in this country also there's no law on minimum return to employees. So sometimes also, even in the fund's investment, what the employee gets is very small, much smaller than even the penalty interest. So
because of unremitted contributions, because you only invest what you have.
Yeah, you cannot fault the employees themselves, governors.
Yeah, not the employees. I'm saying the schemes,
the funds,
the funds. In other countries also. Yeah, so I think, Chair, on this one, I mean, much as I'm in this situation, I am a believer that you cannot deduct somebody's money and not remit it.
Yeah, you know the question that I asked.
Governor, actually that is criminal. You asked me. It's actually criminal.
Not really been answered.
Oh, no, yeah, I mean it's theft. You're stealing from. You're actually stealing from yourself and stealing from the employees.
Senator, yeah, the question I asked the governor required some empathy, because if you don't put yourself in the shoes of those people who have retired, you will not prioritize the payment of this money, of gratuity. Some people retire when they are rich. Some retire when they are extremely poor. An ECD teacher retiring, going home, and being told that your money was not remitted, and you know the man has retired and has some kids in college or even in school who require also assistance. Now, if you say that money was not remitted but deducted and not remitted, so there's nothing you can do, you're not being empathetic enough.
And in fact, Chair, this is why I was pushing the question of time. Governor, we have all been in these offices now for 4 years. Yeah, I am very happy, by the way. I'm proud of this committee. I told you when we started, Chair, we resolved the question of penalties for KRA for you. Correct. Because whereas you run around, some of you saying that devolution is working, that the national government has done better than previous administrations, you're up to date with the remittances. It is not true. In private, you come and cry to us that... Oh,
paid May salaries? Have you paid May salaries?
He has said himself we are behind 2 months.
Yes.
May salaries, yes.
May, you have
Yes.
paid May?
Yes.
You have received your disbursements for May?
Not yet, but I've paid.
Okay.
you see,
Senator Sifuna?
Regardless of whether receipts are received or not, I have, I pay somewhat my salaries on time.
So
including the statutory reduction.
So my point was, those people who are watching us at home, who Senator Mwaruma has described, Governor, in this city, I don't know about Wajir. In this city, if you are unable to pay your rent, they come and lock the door. So you imagine, just 1 month's rent, they remove the mabati from the house and you have to go. Now, you are telling these pensioners that it's an ongoing conversation. 4 years into our term, we're actually going into elections. We've actually started campaigns. I personally have started campaigns. So, what assurance can we
Point of
give?
order, Elections Act is very clear on campaign period. So, Senator Sifuna, you might be careful.
Yeah, come and arrest
because
me.
you normally argue.
You
know where to find him.
You know where to find me.
Okay. There's no problem.
I have already announced my next rally. You can send them there.
Okay.
But Governor, the point I was making is this: that empathy that he spoke about requires that we expedite these processes. If these other pensions have been able to find agreements with some of your colleagues in the council, just get one meeting and agree with these people. What is the way forward? Withdraw those matters from, because the people are suffering, and that was the point.
Actually, on that bit of empathy, Governor, when you left office in 2017, were you and the team you exited with paid your gratuities?
100%.
100%.
Yes. In fact, I needed it. I went and collected my gratuity.
In 2023, the last elections were 2023. 2022, when you returned to office, was the governor and those who were in office in that period, have they been paid their gratuities?
Not yet. And actually...
Why?
And tried to pay, and the controller did not approve, because some of them, I don't want to say who, were in pretty bad situation, and out of empathy, I tried to pay, and the controller said, no, you can't. And Senator Marua, I am the one who's actually arguing.
Maruma, so what would be the challenge? Because you were paid promptly.
Somebody's right. Why would the governor be using empathy to
that
pay?
response is also very suspicious. It's like, I decided, then I said, no, we're not.
No, he was paid
And Chair, I
No,
thought
the request is not approved,
Chair,
because for
I thought
gratuity...
statutory deductions or employees' issues or statutory deductions are somebody's right. It doesn't depend on empathy. So why is the governor saying empathy?
So, Governor,
and we know very well he didn't leave office. He went for election petition in 2022. So what does he mean? And yet the previous administration paid him on time, but he doesn't want to pay. So the question is, what is the reasoning behind it?
Let me clarify that.
Yes, Governor.
Let me clarify. First, it's not the previous administration that paid me on time.
You paid yourself.
No. Please just let me explain.
Yeah, please explain.
Because both our pensions and our gratuity were with the fund administrators in my time. I made sure that I remitted the funds to the fund administrators. I did not have to talk to my successor. My administration rather had been remitting. Now, here we have a situation where the administration that was in office was not remitting the funds for 25 months, not remit funds for 25 months to the fund administrators.
But deducting.
But deducted. And Senator Marua, why I was clarifying this, it is not me who was saying it's not payable. It's the controller you had saying, once you have remitted this, you can't do it again. The challenge on my side was to sign off on an agreement. Senator and Sifuna, I want to assure you that someone will agree. And before I leave office, I can clear this amount, but some chunk will be paid to both CPF and lab fund. But what I'm saying is, because ideally, everybody is with one of the two, either lab fund or CPF. If administrations were disciplined to remit timeously, then this situation should not obtain. That's all I'm saying.
Should therefore the deductions be done at the national level? Because you have a crisis here. You have 5 years of discipline, 5 years of alleged indiscipline. How do we ensure that this matter is sorted out? Because, and I think the controller is right, the money was released. It was diverted to some other purposes. You must find a way of funding that expenditure, perhaps even with interest. So going forward, are we seeing a situation where we are saying county governments have become so indisciplined that they must be supervised by the National Treasury on deductions?
Chair.
The response to that, Governor, just clarify whether that 25 months of non-remittance is for all the employees, including for the governor himself.
Chair, as I said, the Wajir case is probably, with respect to the pending bill situation, was the worst of all worlds. There are also other counties, governors who, when they came into office, inherited as little as 15 million shillings or 50 million shillings of pending bills. So whether we should change the law just because of a few bad situations, I think that that's a matter for all of us, not only for me, because the architecture does not allow currently the setup of the PFM architecture a mechanism for national government to deduct money at source without first hitting the CRF.
Well, they did it with MES, you remember?
Right. At MES, it was a book entry in a sense. You know, they were like saying they allocated us X as conditional grant, but it wasn't really part of the equitable share in a sense. So it was like a donation, we've made a donation to you, and you know, we're keeping it up in the air, sort of. That was what it was, how I understood it. But there is no mechanism really for that to happen, for Treasury to decide we're not remitting a part of your equitable share. One thing that has now happened in the last, I think, 1 month, from April, which is a plus and a minus at the same time, is that the payroll is now being handled through IFMIS, right? The HRS, the Integrated Human Resource System, is now been integrated with, the module has been integrated with IFMIS. So salaries have to be paid through IFMIS just like everything else, individually to the employee. The downside of that is when, as Senator Sifuna says, there are delays in disbursements and releases, then the utilization of the soft banking arrangements that some counties use to pay salary becomes difficult, because the banks can't be the ones paying the employees' money through IFMIS. IFMIS only accepts, it's only integrated to the county operational and development account. So it becomes more difficult actually to get banking help, right? So as to the question of how this is handled, I think, Chair, it's a question of the control environment. it's a question of also timely audits and timely oversight and timely action, I think. Because if we were to go the route of deducting that at the source, remember, even the pending bills that I'm being crucified about here have to do with money that has actually left the CRF account, has been released by the controller, but was misapplied, or there was an over budgeting of expenditure above the budget. Because if there is no mechanism for county governments to be in deficit, county governments must stick to their budget. And if there are overshots because of a disaster or something, then that should be something that can be managed within the next budget or something like that. If a disaster happens or something. But it shouldn't be something that cannot be absorbed by the next regime. Because when you have 7 billion or 5 billion of pending bills and all the money was released and utilized, I think, Senator Moro, you also have to be a bit empathetic with me.
Well, and all these are offenses committed by the team that you lead. Honorable members, how do we get away out of this? Because all these are instances of poor financial management in counties. There's a specific case of Wajir, but it cuts across. Now, there has to be a solution. So Wajir, the first 5 years are doing the right thing. The second 5 years, they're doing the wrong thing. The next 5 years, they're doing the right thing. The next 5 years, you don't know what's going to happen. You've got employees. They are looking at the Senate and all these institutions to come up with a solution. I am not hearing a solution. I am hearing a detailed description of the problem.
I think for me, Chair, there should be certain consequences. I think where we are failing as a nation is the consequence part. How is it conscionable for you to preside over an administration that deducts money from employees? Don't remit, then you tell us you also don't have a solution. Even criminal sanctions should follow such people. I mean, it's unconscionable. They come to our offices here, Chair, at KICC, and they are in bad shape. They come to cry in our offices, and we can't just say there's nothing to do. I think there should be criminal consequences for CEOs who do that you deduct money and you don't remit. And then the COB says they can't release twice. I mean, those are the conversations we should be having, Governor, at COG level, at the Senate level, and we're willing and ready to help. For as long as you don't see us enemies, we can sit and talk about these things. But for me, I think there should be some level of responsibility, criminal responsibility for people who are doing these things.
Senator Chirarke?
Maybe, Chair, I agree with the Nairobi Senator that if this money was released and the governor has described this in detail what happened and also the reluctance of COB, which we agree with, not to release money that had already been, should have been remitted, this was a pure theft. And I think, in my own opinion, certain consequences, including investigations and prosecution, and I'm happy, I don't know whether ESCC are here with us. I think anybody found culpable, then and now, because the Constitution under Article 2265 is very clear that you should be held accountable while or even after you leave office. So there is no expiry or reflection of criminal liability if somebody took the people's money, the staff of Wajir. And Governor, we cannot be sympathetic with you because you already received your gratuity in them. So sympathy will not be there today.
Yeah.
So what I'm just saying in simple, Governor, and we agree with the criminal enterprise of stealing from the employees, they must be investigated and prosecuted. I think ESCC is normally with us. They just pick it up so that as we pursue for a resolution on this matter, somebody in this country, Chair, we should punish the issue of corruption to be as rare as a snowball in hell, so that somebody cannot walk into a public office, steal, get away with it, go to Santorini, and enjoy their lives as if nothing is happening, Mr. Speaker. I know Senator Spooner does not know where Santorini is, but I will share with him. It's one of the exotic places.
Chair. Okay, members, looking at the time, we just have 20 minutes, so let's be conscious. Senator
That's
Wambua.
okay. So, Chair, on the same note, Governor, the truth of the matter is the people of Wajir, especially those who have already retired, they are out of the payroll, definitely are expecting that because you are appearing today, there will be a solution or a way forward to their issues. It's easy to say it wasn't me. It's an easy thing to say, but for that mama, for that old man who worked tirelessly to make Wajir County what it is today, and they are at home now with nothing. And the only thing we can do here is to say their former governor did not remit their deductions for 25 months. They already know that. What hope, what exactly is it that your government is doing to ensure that those people, in a way, you reduce their suffering? It's first of all, you agree with me, it's criminal. It's really a very bad thing for a governor to deduct money from employees and not remit. It's a criminal act. So what exactly are you doing before the ESCC comes for you or for whoever it is that they have to come for? What exactly are you doing for, about those people?
Chair, I'm not an accountant, but is it not possible to know if some money came, like 200 million, a receipt from Treasury for paying salaries, plus gratuity and everything? If the salaries were paid at net and the remittances were not made, is it not possible to know where that money went to and who misappropriated? I think it's possible to know. Because then if you have received money this month and you've paid the employees and the money that is deducted, say 20 million, was not remitted, we should know where that money went to and the person who misappropriated that money. And number two, Chair, we should be able as an oversight body to direct the county to pay this money. First of all, any payable should serve as a first charge, as a priority charge on any receipt. Why can't we direct that this also happens for this money?
Yeah. Governor, I think you have seen the mood of the Senate, that these are issues that we want to engage on positively because they impact on the lives of the very people we rely on for service delivery. Having described the problem, what do you put as the action you're going to take individually as a governor of Wajir and broadly as the leader of the team of governors?
Chair, that it's a criminal offense. Everything we have discussed here with respect to pending bills is a criminal offense. Because not only for the statutory, I keep repeating, even for those classrooms that people are threatening to close, the money was released, not applied appropriately. And it's easy to blame the governors, but even the governor himself, his gratuity was not paid. So this is, and of course, the tone at the top and everything is important, but I think there were officers who were in these roles, in HR, in finance, in procurement, who ought to have known better. And all these reports are everywhere. They are with Senate, they are with ESCC, they are all over. I mean, there's nothing confidential about them. That's one. Two, so it's budget indiscipline, Senator Wambua. It's budget indiscipline. People are just issuing LSOs left, right, and center. They committed more than they budgeted for. Some were done, some weren't done, right? There even some that were paid, which weren't done. All these is in all these reports, and as I've said, I've given